Logan Paul is extremely talented.
RiceGum hit me up, and he wanted to box me.
I bought a gun.
Off. The pill.
Clap for the camera.
Oh, shit.
All right, well, that's a first.
Yep, that's it. That is a first.
I kind of didn't realize how close this was to my face.
All right. Well, welcome back to another Off the Pill podcast. Today we are here with a very special and old friend. Old meaning I'd known him for a long time, not in insult. Ian Hecox.
Hello.
I never knew if I'm saying that right. Oh, there you go.
Wow.
It's Ian Hecox, right?
Paco coming in with the hits.
I know
I got fire beats.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, what did you say?
I never knew if I was saying your name right.
Hecox.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought otherwise, but
What did you say?
Hecox.
Oh, okay. You got it.
It just doesn't. I don't know.
I mean,
I actually don't even. I never knew how to say Anthony's last name either.
Yeah, it's all right.
well,
Most
dude, that's
people,
a name you don't mention, dude.
What are you talking?
So
Okay,
that's
are we
like
getting into
saying
it already?
Voldemort, dude.
I don't think so though.
Yeah, I mean, where we grew up, a lot of people said his last name wrong as well.
Padilla.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's Padilla.
It's Padilla.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It's like Spanish as well, right?
Yeah.
Like quesadilla.
I thought it.
Exactly.
okay.
I used to
Paco
work
knows.
I used to work at Taco Bell, and I would hate when people said quesadilla.
I used to say that.
I couldn't help but slide it. You mean quesadilla?
Oh, you're one
yeah.
of those.
I'm a douchebag.
Taco Bell, the truly authentic Mexican experience.
Yeah.
Yes. So, well, it's great to have you, man. It's been a while.
It has been. Last time I saw you, we were getting Korean barbecue, and
Wasn't it that burger spot like where you live?
oh, it was okay.
What was that spot? That
Uh,
was super good.
yeah. The
Well,
more
I don't think we should.
Yeah,
you want to
probably
say
should-
where you? Yeah,
I
don't
probably
say where you
shouldn't
live.
say it.
Already
It's
getting
like,
into it?
I literally live
Yeah.
above the burger place.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that place is so good.
Okay, well,
They
don't ever mention where then. 'cause
Okay,
people
well,
will find you.
but I will say though that they have a burger where they put a slice of filet mignon in the burger,
Oh.
like on top of the regular patty.
keep giving more hints.
I know.
Just keep giving more hints.
What does a street name rhyme with so we can find this burger spot? Not your place, this burger spot.
I don't even know. I don't know street names.
Okay, well,
Google Maps tells me where to go, and I
Got it.
just go.
All right, are you someone who uses Google Maps or Waze, actually?
Oh, Google Maps for sure.
I
Because
use Google Maps.
well,
too.
yeah, because I mean, like the UI on Waze is the grossest thing I've ever seen.
Urinary infection.
No, that's UTI.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
come on, man.
actually, what is UI? I don't know.
User interface.
Got it.
So
Smart.
it just looks really ugly,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of like logos and stuff. And I've never actually used it ever. I've seen other people use it,
Oh.
and
So you're going to call it ugly and never use it. You're
Damn
one
straight.
of those.
I am one of those. But also they make some pretty crazy recommendations. Like they'll have you do a left turn across like 6 lanes of traffic. And I mean, yeah, you can do that, but I get crazy anxiety over that kind of stuff because I don't want to edge out and then block other people because I don't want to inconvenience other people. So I'm always trying to be as like
Damn, you're such a
considerate
nice
as
guy,
possible.
dude.
I know.
Especially for an LA driver.
Yeah. I know it's
Wow.
not a good pairing.
I always say though that LA drivers, although they have a reputation to be very aggressive and whatnot, they're one of the. You got to be a really good driver in LA.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the strange thing about LA is they breed really good drivers. Like not nice drivers.
No.
It's arrogant. They're arrogant drivers because they see a space that the car can fit into in traffic and they're like, I'm just gonna wedge right in there. And yeah, your car can fit there, but you could also cause somebody to freak out and crash into you. But it's really funny whenever I go back to Sacramento because the difference in drivers of LA and Sacramento while still in California is night and day because
Right.
people in Sacramento are nice, but also completely clueless. Like whenever I go up there, I always find somebody that's just not looking and they just start merging into my lane. I'm like, hey. So, yeah, LA's not that bad.
See, in Hilo, in Hawaii, we don't even have that many lanes, so you don't have to worry about that. But people also don't drive over, I would say, 40 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's terrible driving back home in Hawaii.
Actually, Oahu is pretty bad. It's kind of like LA. Have you been there? Have you driven there?
No,
It's
it's
pretty
slow.
bad.
It's slow. It's
Yeah,
not,
but the lanes are so narrow and like
okay.
it's. I mean, that's one of the reasons I actually don't like Oahu as much. And LA is literally traffic just makes me upset.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
I get really upset.
Oahu was interesting.
What does that
not my favorite. Not my favorite of the islands.
Where else have you
Well,
been?
I'm like humble bragging.
No.
Well, I went. It's really funny. The first time I went to Hawaii, we went to the Big Island, your
Yeah,
hometown. We didn't go to Hilo though, but went there with my parents and Anthony. It was like our graduation gift, and they took Anthony along as well. But when you go on vacation with your parents, it's kind of, I mean, like it doesn't matter where you go. It's kind of lame because you have to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Right.
And also, you know, we were 18. I was still 17. And you know, you can't drink at that time.
There's not much you can do there in general, though.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I saw some sea turtles. That was pretty dope.
Okay, yeah.
Saw, you know, we went to the volcano. That was like, you know, it's a big
Better
thing.
now. It's a little more interesting now.
A little more lit.
Yeah. Literally.
Maui was cool. Maui was like the sort of cross between Kauai and Oahu, I would say, where it's like it is touristy, but you still can get out.
Yeah.
And then there's like if you want to talk about narrow roads, the road to Hana.
Oh yeah,
dude.
Well, that's the road. Did you have a rental? You're not supposed to go on that road, right?
No, you could. We had a Jeep.
Oh yeah, I don't think you're supposed to go there in a rental. But
Yeah,
people do all the time.
It's crazy.
It's
like
kind of it's dangerous, dude.
Yeah, well, they have. I know that I saw a shirt that you could buy there and said, "I survived the road to Hana," because it's essentially most of the time it's a 1-lane road, and the locals bomb that road, and there's bridges that are only wide enough for like one car, and so you know you see somebody coming the other way, you better get the hell out of their way and like drive into a ditch. Because they'll just run. They'll just run you off the road. It's nuts.
It builds character.
Yeah, and then Kauai was my favorite island. Like, especially living in LA, where you know you don't see a lot of green, and the green that is there is just kind of like brown green. And then you go to Kauai and like it's like somebody turned the contrast up in your eyes. Like, it's just I couldn't comprehend the greenness of everything. And then Oahu's like, all right. There's a lot of tourists here. There's a lot of
people in general.
Yeah.
Well, did you find that? I don't know. I always ask people this, especially if they're white. Did you experience any racism there? Because believe it or not, I don't know if people know this, but in Hawaii, white people, from what I've seen, experience the most racism. Which I know a lot of people argue that you can't be racist to a white person. I don't agree with that argument. But
PC-ness. Just so
we're already in that. I don't know. I've growing up, I've seen the most racism directed towards white people, and especially tourists. I understand why.
I always heard about the racism towards white people there, which honestly I understand. Like, I mean,
did you experience?
We probably
it, though,
don't
from
belong
the
there.
Locals?
I didn't. I don't think I ever really experienced anything firsthand. I haven't really experienced anyone ever be rude to me from another country. I had one guy when I was in Paris. I had this one guy that I asked him if he spoke English in French because I don't. That was basically the only French word that I knew, and he was like, some of the times. I was
was that his version of being rude?
How about now, maybe?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the rudest anyone's ever been to me in any country. I think as long as you respect everybody,
right,
then they'll show you equal amount of respect, unless they're just having a really bad day.
Maybe you're just a nice guy. You know, you don't in traffic, you let people go. Like maybe that's why. I don't know. But in my experience, I mean, Paco knows too. Like naturally, it makes sense. You know, I mean, the islands were illegally taken over. Right.
Sure.
So there's always that, you know, there's a negativity there, but it's especially towards tourists. I feel like people don't. It doesn't matter how polite. Naturally, a lot of like local people don't like tourists. And
is there? Because I know. I mean, I've heard that, like in Hawaii, like there's more racism against like Filipinos there.
No, I'd say with I guess minorities in America, in Hawaii, there's equal racism to everyone because it's such a melting pot.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like
nobody really has claim like a full claim because you're like Japanese.
Yep.
I think
Hawaiian.
there's everything.
Like-
yeah, I think it's the only state with no majority. So everyone is a minority there.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so everyone, and it's just like everyone is equally racist to each other. And it's just, it's accepted.
Yeah, but it's almost like less of a problem. Like people don't take racism as seriously there.
Yeah.
I think, at least growing up,
Yeah.
because it's like everybody's different.
Yeah.
And like a lot of mix too. So it's like the racist comments and stuff is just like, it's mostly stereotypes.
Yeah. And there are jokes most of the time
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So everyone knew
It's a
to be
little-
like, oh,
it's a
you
little
didn't mean
different.
anything by it.
Yeah, it's a little different. But like I said, to me, I still think the the white people got it the worst there.
Well,
from what
I
I've
mean, I
seen.
get it because we're probably the most recent invaders of Hawaii.
Right.
You know, so I get it. And there's a lot of money coming in there. People, you know, a bunch of people from mainland America saying, oh, actually, I'd love to live there. I'm just going to bring all my money. I'm going to buy this big house and I'm just going to drive around in my Mercedes. I'm just going to buy everything that I
So
want.
what rich people sound like to you?
Well, there was actually a couple of months ago though, but this I guess Caucasian female said, I moved to Hawaii a year ago, fell in love with the place, and had like this whole like video on Twitter of how like, oh, you know, I'm exactly how you're describing is doing this. And a lot of people took it and said, you didn't fall in love with Hawaii, like you fell in love with being able to vacation the whole time and experience like all this stuff, while actual Hawaii and the people are very different from what you're showing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And that's that disconnect. And you got to really respect the people that are already living there. If you're ever going to move to another place, you have to show that respect and understanding of the people that were there before you. Because then that happens and you look like an idiot.
We should sell just that clip right there to like the tourism board or something of Hawaii. Like, you're saying everything right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense that people were nice to you. So you went with Anthony.
Yeah.
This is okay. What year was that? Because you graduated
2005. So we went in 2005.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a bit ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
I'm an old man.
No, they're like 4 years older than us.
Rough
Three or four
years.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just always thought like we're all the same age. You guys
I'm just an
seem
old,
so young.
They were
old
on
man.
YouTube from
Before you,
the
right?
very beginning. Yeah. 05, right? Like when it first came out.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they were in you guys were in high school.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, no, we just graduated. So it was the summer
Got it.
between high school and our super prestigious community college. Yeah.
That's funny. You went to the Big Island the year that I started YouTube, actually.
You're welcome.
Yeah. That's, you heavily,
I must have influenced
dude, you heavily influenced me. And actually, I mean, that's true story. I mean, I used to watch your guys' stuff all the time. I mean, I told you when we first met, like we used to watch you, and I mean, you guys were my favorite, and like Derek Comedy.
Yeah.
Who a lot of people don't know, but that's Childish Gambino. God, I can't even think of his real name. Donald Glover.
Donald Glover. Yeah.
Donald Glover. Yeah.
Donald Glover, yeah.
That was the that you guys were my favorites to watch back then, and I think at
Bratz
the
and
time,
Beretta.
Bratz and Beretta, exactly.
Yeah.
They started working with you guys,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Joe worked with us for probably 4 years. And then Luke Baratz also did some work for us as well.
Right.
Yeah.
That guy, those guys are funny.
They're
Man.
amazing.
Yeah.
They're super underrated.
They're
I
both
thought.
really talented. Joe Beretta went off to do a
Valley Folk?
Yeah, the Valley Folk. It's a separate channel with some of the other people that he met through SourceFed. Yeah.
Okay.
And all right, so I guess going into the first Twitter question, since we're talking about this, which is
yeah, we're going to
from-
Twitter already.
I mean, I kind of want to talk about it because
Okay.
it just presented itself in such a natural and organic way.
Go ahead.
Masha XK asks, when I was in elementary school, it was a controversial topic. Who is better, Smosh or Nigahiga? So have you folks ever felt competition between each other?
I mean, not competition in like a angry sort of way, but back in the day,
Well, this is a podcast. You can be real. If you were like, who is this?
no way, no,
Upcomer.
because like Ryan said, he was a fan of our stuff. We were a fan of Nigahiga as well, and like back in that time, there was so little content.
Yeah.
Everybody knew everybody. And whenever you met another person, like we met at VidCon on the first time.
YouTube Live, right?
Oh my God.
You remember that?
Yeah.
YouTube Live. Soldier Boy, Katy Perry.
Yeah, I forgot you were there.
That's where I met everybody. And Bo Burnham.
Yeah.
I met everybody there. I even met Kev there for the first time. I mean, we talked, obviously, but I think I met Kev for the first time there, too.
Yeah.
People don't know about YouTube Live.
Dude, I literally, I think I just talked about YouTube Live in our second podcast. And I was talking about how I met Bo Burnham on the elevator, and I didn't recognize him because he's so damn tall.
He's huge.
And in his old videos, he'd play with a keyboard on his lap.
Yeah.
And he had this giant keyboard. So I just thought he was like an average sized or tiny person.
He's huge. He's a giraffe.
He's gigantic.
He's super tall.
Yeah.
Also a super talented guy I like too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time we met. And again, like you were saying, everybody used to be very supportive of each other. Remember we used to have those YouTube meetups, even like random ones, like not even orchestrated by a company or anything. We just like, there'd be a spot, and I mean, I could barely go to any because I was in Hawaii.
Yeah.
But there was a lot that people would just meet up and hang out, you know?
Yeah. That was, somebody did a big meetup in San Francisco. I forget what it was called, but do you remember S&P Films?
Yes, I do. Yeah. Corey
Williams.
I just remember S&P.
Yeah, S&P
the guy
Films.
with the cat.
Yeah, that was the first time that a lot of people met each other, and it was in San Francisco. And Anthony and I drove out there, and we just hung out at the pier. And there's just like fans of various channels. Philip DeFranco was there when he was still when
Sexy
his
Phil.
channel was Sexy Phil.
Yeah.
That's like that weird thing you like bring up. You're like, oh yeah, his channel used to be called Sexy Phil.
I still think refer to him as that in my head. I don't think Philip DeFranco. I think Sexy Phil.
Yeah, still.
Yeah, to this day.
So, I mean, I wouldn't say that there was a sort of strong competition, but back in that day, there was a competition to get into spots on the page, and that would be most viewed and most commented, most favorited. So there were a couple times when we both uploaded at like the same time, and it's like, oh,
yeah.
No,
especially if it's a video that you really like too.
Yeah.
Or if it was like a hot topic, and then whoever was releasing that topic first, it was like, damn it, now people are gonna think I copied them, but like there's no way we could have made that in time, you know?
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, like people were closer before. I think because the community was so small.
I mean, YouTube was all about collaboration until about, I'd say 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the first time that I ever experienced like YouTube drama directed at me was like a channel that was talking crap about Smosh the movie, and it had just came out. So I was really proud of like, you know, the fact that we were able to make a movie. I didn't think it was like a masterpiece, but I was like, well, you know, this is a sort of step forward for, you know, YouTube creators getting into other sort of venues. Yeah. And this one guy like made this very like scathing review, and I got so hurt by it because I'm like, this is another creator and he's tearing another creator down.
Right.
And I was so used to before that being everybody was helping each other, raising each other up. And so that was my first experience with somebody tearing another creator down. And then it turned out that it's actually really lucrative to tear other people down.
Well, especially now, yeah.
Because
it drives interests. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I saw a tweet recently by Keemstar. I don't know what's his real name.
Keemstar.
That's not his
legally
name, though, right?
changed.
First
his
name Keem.
Yeah.
Middle name Star.
Keem the Star.
Last name Drama
He
Alert.
just said, somebody tweeted at him like, "Oh, stop! Why do you keep mentioning Jake Paul so much? Like, it would be nice if you didn't have to mention him every video." And he tweeted back, he's like, "Well, I mean, he's made me like $2 million this year, so like, if you want to give me 3, then I'll be happy to not mention him." So like, and that's just him reporting on drama, not even being a part of it technically.
Yeah.
So I mean, it works, and it does drive interest, because when things go down, I mean, like, even for me, I'm not gonna lie, I'm interested to see like, okay, what did someone do now?
Yeah.
You know?
I remember the first time I heard about Drama Alert. I was at some kind of, it was like a charity live stream some YouTubers were putting on, and this guy was like, yeah, like there's this guy Keemstar, and like I don't feel good watching his stuff, but I can't stop. And I was like, oh, interesting. So I went and checked it out, and then it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yep.
And I feel like, you know, I feel like the real breakout with YouTube drama was Leafy.
Oh,
Like,
right.
There was that moment when Leafy got really, really huge, you know, tearing into people. Unfortunately, a lot of the times they were children.
Yeah.
Which isn't very cool. I mean, like, I certainly did and said some pretty stupid things when I was a little kid, and I wouldn't want to be criticized for it.
Yep.
And then, I mean, because he was the first one and it got really big, YouTube, you know, basically cracked down on him.
Yep.
And destroyed his channel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's where we are today, folks.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got there, but we were talking about how we were competitive, and it ends up now we're just watching drama YouTubers, I guess.
Well, I guess because we got his perspective. So from your perspective, did you ever feel like, oh, this is competition? Even though like Ian seems like a very like, oh, like let's build up everybody. But you, on the other hand,
I was ready to take them down.
Yeah, because you were a wrestler. You actually beat them up once.
Actually, we did wrestle.
We did wrestle. Yeah.
No, I felt like I said, it was when I met everybody, it was more of an honor more than anything. It was kind of weird too, because I was like you guys had already had meetups and stuff like that, but I could never go because I was in Hawaii. And then I moved to Vegas for college, and then I was able to go to like YouTube Live. And that's when, I mean, we've already talked, I think, before then. Same with like Kev and like Happy Slip, all those people back then. But I never met anyone. Even David. That's where I met David too, David Choi, at YouTube Live. And everybody was just so cool. I wasn't expecting that, but everybody was cool. I will say that Kev did say later, way later down, like 5 years from then, he was like, hey, man, I just want to let you know, back then, I was super competitive with you. He did say that. But I was like, oh, you know what? I kind of felt that too, to a certain, before we were friends.
Sure.
Because it's like another Asian dude, and he was like bigger than me too at the time. And he was doing the vlog thing. He kind of was like watching, kind of like, I guess Phil was doing that. And then what's that other Asian dude? Winecone, who was, he was doing that too. So Kevin was like inspired off that. And then he thought that was the route to go.
We're dropping some names, and a lot of new people are like, who?
Dude, yeah,
Tony,
Tony,
pictures,
the Winecone.
This is the directory.
It's one of the
right
first,
now.
I would say one of the first like kind of rant style videos.
Yeah.
And I watched him as well, the Winecone, and like I was more into like skits and stuff like that, you know, Smosh was doing. So I went kind of more that path. And I guess in Kev's head, I didn't really see myself as a competitor with him, but I get it. Because we're kind of like, oh, people would pair us up in the comments because there were two Asian dudes. That's the only reason.
And younger Asian dudes.
If I were a different ethnicity, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have had those similar comments.
Yeah.
There was a time when we kind of YouTube seemed to be the sort of kingdom of like Asian creators and gay creators.
Yep.
And we're like, man, if you could just get a Gaysian creator, you would rule YouTube.
Yep.
Because, there was a certain time when, and I think it was honestly just because they weren't represented in any other form of media.
Yeah.
And finally, there was a space where you would actually see an Asian person on the screen.
Yep.
Obviously, it's not that great, but
no, it's very different from
like
even that.
Crazy Rich Asians really broke through. I know Olivia, who's in our cast, she said like she's getting a lot more auditions. There's a lot more interest in Asian actors.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to get too, I get a little frustrated sometimes about that whole scene, because, man, it sounds so bad.
Drop it. It's your podcast. Let's go.
I know. I feel like people, especially in the Asian community, aren't acknowledging how much better it is and how much better it's getting. And they're just like, well, we're still not like it's only a small group of people that still think, well, we're not even close. It's just one movie. But they don't realize like how hot of a commodity it is to have Asians right now. And then I personally think they're going to milk it, and then it's going to be the opposite again for a little bit. I think they're going to milk it right now because it's going to make money. They're going to see a drop in that because people are going to get a little over it.
Oversaturated.
It's going to be like a little trend thing, and but it's all. I still think it's better. Like it's still better.
I mean, I think China is becoming the largest movie-going audience. So I mean,
China doesn't care about Asian Americans. They care about Chinese.
But I mean, I think China's really into K-pop. I think they're interested in other people as well. But that's got to be good.
Well,
right?
I feel like China, like they don't. Obviously, Crazy Rich Asians didn't do that well there. Obviously, they didn't do well at all. Because what they want is Tom Cruise, or they want like the blockbuster Marvel.
And I think from what I heard is it portrayed Chinese in like a bad light.
Well, from the things I read, at least, so it makes sense.
But did it actually play over there?
It did. I think it
just didn't do well or something.
Yeah, because it's hard to get. I think only a certain number of movies, American-made movies, actually are allowed in. And from what maybe this is totally bad information, but from what I heard, you have to work with certain Chinese companies. They have to be like involved in the project, and you have to also include certain Chinese actors in your movie. Oh wow! So that's why, like if you saw XXX Return of Xander Cage, a masterpiece of a movie. I think that's like another H Brothers film, which is it's a Chinese company, production company, I think. And you'll see there's a Chinese actor in that. And you'll also see him in, I think he's also in Valerian, which was funded by some Chinese companies. But it's really funny because there's also other roles where they have to portray China in a good light. Yeah. So like with Transformers, right? When they had like the big battle in China, there's a scene. Yeah. China comes and saves the day.
Well, that's smart. That's what makes money.
Yeah.
You make more money
Valerian,
there.
Yeah. And I think in Valerian, was it Valerian? I think it was Valerian. Like there's a Chinese character that saves the day. Yeah. At the end.
Guys, if we say China 4 more times in the next 13 seconds, we're en route to beating Donald Trump in his whole presidency.
Well, we're not saying China.
Oh, okay.
Hey, that was pretty good, dude.
Thank you.
We're close though. We're close.
Yeah.
We're probably on some kind of list. We probably won't be allowed in.
Yeah.
We said it so much. TSA is like they're on a no-fly list now.
Anyway, so before when I hit you up to do this podcast, it was like what 3 weeks ago?
Weeks ago? Yeah.
I said I'd love to have you, obviously, and you said that I would love to do it, but just wait a few weeks. Mm-hmm. And you announced something just very recently. Do you want to talk about that, or can you?
Yeah, I would love to.
Okay.
Can I talk about it? I'd love to.
You tell me. I don't know what your contract situations are like.
So. Yeah. So Smosh, I don't know. I'm burping now. I got to do my big speech.
See, that's what happens. Nervous.
It's all coming out at once.
Yeah.
Whenever I had to explain this to my parents and my family friends, I kept doing that. I was like,
the whole Smosh situation?
Yeah. I think it's just like it's a weird sort of like emotional reaction because it's been like crazy. So backing it up a little bit, we sold Smosh to a company called Alloy Digital in like 2011 or so. Mm-hmm. Later on, that company merged with this company called Break, and they became Defy Media, which a lot of people know about now. Great reputation.
Sarcasm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And in October, or like late October, early November, they very quickly closed down the whole company, laid everyone off with very little warning.
Right.
And that left Smosh in a weird place because I don't own it. It's not like because they went out of business, I get Smosh back.
Right.
So essentially fell in the hands of the bank. And I then worked with a consultant for like 4 months to find it a new home, make sure that it got into the right hands. And if it didn't go into the right hands, then I wouldn't be a part of Smosh. I would leave, and probably mostly everyone else would leave, and then that company would be known for killing Smosh.
Right.
But basically at the final hour when there was a really, really bad foreign company that almost got it. And it would have been bad. I would have left. Rhett and Link hit us up. Rhett and Link, the OG YouTubers, they're still killing it. They're still killing the game. Some people might know them as Good Mythical Morning. They came in and they saved the day. They bought Smosh. So now Smosh is a part of their mythical entertainment thing. And it's really, honestly, and I'm not saying this because I have to, it's the best outcome because they're not owned by anyone. Like Rhett and Link own Mythical entirely. So they don't have any like larger company to report to that can shut them down, or they don't have any investors that could just pull funding or whatever. So now we basically get to really look at everything that is Smosh and just kind of, take apart the machine, look at what doesn't work, throw that out, and put some new pieces in that we want to, that we think can make the machine work a little better. It's been a tough ass 4 months. Every day, like we would go into meetings with investors or, other sort of people. And, we would hear like, yes, we can fund this, blah, blah, blah. And then we get a call like the next day and be like, oh, sorry, just not in the time. And we're like, oh, well, now we're screwed. And like every day it was like,
highs and lows.
We're going to make it. We're not going to make it. We're going to make it. We're not going to make it. And it was draining as hell. And I was under NDA and all this other stuff. So I couldn't really keep everyone in the Smosh family informed as to every step that was going on. So I just had to be like, hey, like, if you're able to, let's keep getting together and making videos, because somebody at Defy gave me access to the channel. So I was still uploading.
Right.
But I hadn't been actually managing a channel in so long, which is like, it sounds so silly from like the outside, but
no, that's weird.
Yeah. We have 3 channels. Well, I mean 4 if you're counting El Smosh, but I didn't run that during the downtime, but 3 channels. And I am now in charge of uploading and making sure like the video files are correct, getting all the metadata on there, like thumbnails. It was a pain in the ass. Meanwhile, trying to also make sure that Smosh doesn't go into the hands of some shit ass company.
Congratulations, dude. You did it.
Thank you.
Hey, you were waiting for that.
I wasn't sure when to bring it out.
No, it was good.
So, that's great. But what does that mean? Like, coming from a viewer perspective, what does that mean for Smosh? Like, what is that gonna change? Like,
well, Defy had my biggest issue with Defy was just the leadership. It was really, really bad. They didn't really put much effort into Smosh. They just kind of like, Smosh was successful, so they just kind of let it do its own thing, and then they, I think, probably put a lot of money into other things that maybe didn't work out, which is, typical company stuff. I can't, like, Defy did some really bad things. I can't say that everything Defy did was evil and bad. They obviously supported us for many, many years, and we did grow Smosh with them. So I can't completely dump on them. But some of the people at the top were bad, really bad. And I'm not a fan of them, and I'm glad that we're no longer associated with them. I now have a leadership position in Smosh, so I'm able to have a say in what happens next. That's really exciting. There's a lot of things that Defy didn't do that I felt was a really big oversight.
What about in terms of content? Like, were you allowed to just say, hey, I have this great idea.
Yeah,
I want to do this on this day?
They were really afraid of legal things.
Right.
So every single script got passed through a lawyer.
Got it.
And they even towards the end got nervous about like mentioning brands, because they're like, well, we never know. You never know if like we're going to do a brand deal with them or whatever. It got really ridiculous. And they were also really afraid of some of the new YouTube guidelines. So they're like, okay, you can never show a gun. You can never show like somebody that like died in a video. Even if it's like comical, like if somebody gets hit in the head with like a football and they fall on the ground, they look dead. Like you can't do that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was.
See, I always felt that, to be honest. I felt like when that change happened with you guys, and I'm obviously I didn't want to say anything, you know.
Yeah.
But I've always wondered, and I don't know why I'm asking you now, but I did always wonder, like, what kind of control did you guys have at that point?
We had a considerable amount of creative control. There was just those things, especially towards the end, did get more constraining.
Right.
And like I don't want to promise people like oh, like our videos are going to be twice as good now, because that's not fair. Like I think we were already doing a good job with the YouTube content.
Yeah.
I do think we can do better, and I think we will.
Yeah.
Now that we have more control, and we're probably gonna loosen up on some things. But I think there's so much more out there than just YouTube. I do want to figure out a touring thing, because with what we are, it's so different nowadays from other YouTube content. Like you and me are pretty much like the only people doing sketch comedy on YouTube now. So our sort of offering with a live show is very different from, you know, somebody that's a vlogger.
Right.
We have a cast of people that we can create a sort of a live, like a variety show, almost like a live show and some other stuff. I don't want to promise anything, because this is all very, very preliminary, and it could take.
We're gonna leak this and say there's a new live show coming.
We're taking sound bites.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a live show, variety.
Yep.
But
Can we just get you saying Anthony's coming back as well, so we can include that in there?
Well, you could just pull out different clips of me saying like Anthony and then coming and then back in different sentences and put it together. Anthony's coming back.
There we go. Well, we got it right there, so thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. We're gonna put that in.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Anthony, just because, I mean, obviously you guys made the video together and it's very cordial. Is there anything else, like, I mean, how are you guys? Do you guys still keep in touch at all? Like, do you, I mean, I don't know. I have literally no idea.
Yeah. I mean, we keep in touch from time to time. Obviously, he's really busy with his own channel.
Right.
And this is something that we were kind of talking about on, well, I don't know, like when is this podcast coming out? This is coming out on like next Friday.
Your podcast.
Okay, so like I think I'll be talking about this in our podcast as well at the same exact day. Basically, what we're saying is, like, you know, all the people that are pestering us and pestering him for him to like come back to Smosh, it's really disrespectful to both of us, like especially to him, because like he's doing what he wants to do. Yeah. If he didn't want to be doing his channel, he wouldn't be doing it. And for people to go on his channel and say, come back to Smosh, like you're only good on Smosh, like that's super disrespectful.
Yeah.
So
but he had to have known that was going to happen, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So
I mean, because a lot of his beef when he left was about Defy. So a lot of people think like, well, now that Defy's out of the picture, it's gonna, like, you can come back. But it's obviously a little bit more than that. It's, you know, obviously we've become creatively kind of two different people. So I mean, you know, with a duo or any kind of partnership, creatively, it's hard to sometimes come to an agreement on content. And you know, the fact that we remained a partnership creatively for so many years is kind of a wonder.
It's tough.
Yeah. But the door is absolutely open for him to come back and be in videos. Like, I would be really excited with the prospect of him showing up. I think it could be really cool.
But the first video that he's back, there's a gun and he gets shot and then dies. Just so it all comes full circle.
Yeah, we're gonna Bruce Lee him.
Yeah.
Just because they can now.
Yeah.
Right. And it gets demonetized, and then you can't, and then you got to go back to your old ways. I mean, we're the same way. Even now, it's like we got to think about. I mean, we get to do a little bit more edgy things, but like, I've experienced it too. In terms of just like even using, like, I sometimes would get away with using like 2 seconds of a song. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Even if it's a mention. You know?
We got flagged. We got a flag from a video from like 7 years ago where Anthony and I are singing I'll Make Love to You a cappella in bad Russian accents.
That is,
No way.
so that's not even being picked up by YouTube. That's literally someone flagging it down.
It's at the end card.
Oh wow!
So I don't know how somebody found that because we're not singing it on key. We're singing it in bad accents.
I don't know. That's how good you were.
And there's no music playing behind it. And somehow someone
physically had to watch it and be like, that is, I know who owns the rights to this. And they go, I don't know. I don't know how it's
like covers supposed to be okay.
No, you'd have to get some kind of
really?
permission of some sort or be with like an MCN.
Wow.
Yeah, covers aren't you can't do covers.
Covers aren't covered.
Yeah, covers aren't covered, bro.
Nope.
The claiming business is actually a really big business.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money in claiming. So a lot of large companies will hire businesses to just scour YouTube and claim videos.
Well, now it's automatic. Like a lot of it's automatic.
A lot of it is, but there's still a lot of manual.
No, there are. I mean, I've in this past year, I mentioned it too in another video, I think. I've gotten like literally probably 10 times more, and probably like half my videos got claimed. And it's still happening every like couple every week. Some of them justified, some I could dispute, but like it's such a long process. It's like almost not worth the energy. It's like, fine, okay, this video still gets views over time, and over time you're gonna get a lot more, but like I just don't have the energy to like dispute every single thing.
Yeah.
And some are justified. I get it. It's just like kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. We had one that was really annoying. We have this really fun series on our second channel called Try Not to Laugh, where somebody sits on a stool and then people dress up in props and stuff in the background, and they come out and they get 30 seconds to try to make that person laugh.
Right.
And we had this guy, his name on like Instagram is Juji Mufu. He's like this big buff guy, and he does like backflips and all these like crazy acrobatics. Had him on the show, and we used like 2 like short clips of him to like show what he does, and Jukin Media claimed that. Claimed the whole damn video. And it's like,
because
man, we had him on the video. Like, he would be cool with us using these clips.
Yeah.
But fucking Jukin. Wait, can I curse on this?
I don't know. We never
That's
said
our
the
first.
F word.
That's our first.
Really?
I don't know. I think it's okay.
Congratulations, Ian Hecox. First
there's no sponsor on this one. So.
There isn't.
So
Yeah,
I think we're good.
I don't think sponsors really care with podcasts.
I don't think
No,
they
they
do
don't. They
either.
don't.
I just never done it.
Yeah.
But you could be the one.
Okay. I was like, occasionally, wow, I cannot talk. Occasionally I was self-censoring myself because I wasn't sure, because most podcasts are like, I don't know, who cares? You'll say, you can say anything.
All right, should we just all say it at once together?
I
in
probably
unison?
won't, but
Whatever.
You're ruining
if it
Paco's
just has
dreams,
to,
man.
you can do. I mean, if it comes out naturally, then it will. You know.
Well, this is
I just
not
gotta get
gonna-
really upset.
I just have a lot of hatred for Jukin.
Oh,
They're
okay.
just I just hate that whole business model. They literally just buy clips and then license them, and whenever somebody uses their clip, then they just claim it and take the money. Like it's a shitty business. Oh no, I just cursed again.
You're
I'm sorry.
good.
I apparently just really don't like Jukin.
You really don't.
It's really coming out. Like, you can see
Ooh,
it.
all the dirt is coming
Yeah.
out, man. We're about to
trying
set
to
up a fight with you in
slowly
the head.
cracking. Just,
Yeah. Setting up a boxing fight.
Yeah.
Did you get into that?
a
Would
boxing?
you ever do that?
Hell no. I've never been punched in the face before.
Would you like
Like
to?
our wrestling match was
Yeah.
probably the most confrontational I've ever been with anybody.
Really?
Yeah.
That was when
Physically.
we filmed Agents of Secret stuff, by the way.
Yeah.
For Ian is bored.
Yeah.
And we wrestled, and he was in a suit, and it was a little revealing.
I was gonna say you can kind of see my dong through it. Oh, great!
yeah.
I
Well,
probably
now
shouldn't say
everyone's
that 'cause
gonna
now
go.
people are gonna
So
go.
which episode was this?
Yeah,
wouldn't
Pac
even
was
know.
really interested.
Yeah.
I was wearing a blue suit and I tried to last in the ring 30 seconds. So I just ran around the ring and tried to avoid you.
I actually think I saw that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny. It was fun.
All right,
you.
do it again.
Yeah. I mean, we could- yeah.
One more time.
I was just wondering because
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's that whole scene is blowing up. It helps everybody that does it.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. But then after the match, nobody cares.
True.
Like, it's
You know what
like
I'd be
it
afraid
happened
of?
and now it's gone.
I'd be afraid of if I got into a boxing match and they knocked me out so hard I peed myself.
I think people would understand that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But that was a terrible
that's
segue
what you're.
into our
Oh yeah.
potential
Okay.
shishi
Well, yeah.
break.
We
That's
do have
fine.
to do a shishi break.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That means it's a pee break, but We just call it shishi.
Yeah.
Anyway, quick shishi break. Yeah, we've been going for a bit. Anyway, yeah, we'll be right back. Shishi break.
Shishi. I won't hit the mic this time.
You can hit it if you want.
No,
Just get Road to hook you up.
That's the most controversial or confrontational he's ever been. So.
Dude, he just hit the mic.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm sorry.
and we're back.
Yo.
That's how we get back into it. Anyway, what were we saying? I don't know
We
if
were
we
talking
we're
about
talking about.
We're talking about
Smosh.
boxing.
And boxing.
Yeah.
and
I will
drama.
say that I did remember that one part from the boxing match. It's really funny because, like, you know, I didn't really want to support that match. So there was a group of maybe like 20 of us that all went over to one person's house. So we only had to pay for one. But I do have some respect for God, I forget his name. He went up against the Raka, one of the Raka guys.
Is it one of the drama guys?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He's one of the drama guys, the guy that comes out from behind the tree. That's like his whole meme.
Something here.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
know.
what is it?
Now we're just gonna be upset.
Yeah. Anyway,
Just look on your phone. I mean,
he was clearly gonna lose
Yeah.
because both the Raka guys, like, have you ever watched their videos?
yeah.
They're awesome, but they're insane.
Yeah.
Those guys are insane. And if you've like seen any of their
They're
stuff,
hilarious.
like they're like amateur wrestlers too. So they're just extremely physically capable guys. And they went up against him and it's like, oh man. Like,
yeah.
so I got to give props to that guy that went up against Raka dude. Cause like, yeah, man had heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the most important thing.
Might not help you win, but
Yeah.
I respect.
No, I don't help you win. I believe in heart.
Yeah.
Heart's a big part of it.
Oh, for sure.
But
But if
did
that's all
anyone
you
hit
have.
you up to or
No.
who if you had to?
Who would I box?
Yep.
If I had to?
Everyone's like, Anthony.
No. There's no way we could hit each other. We're so
know.
passive aggressive against each other. Like,
Yeah, but if you had to though.
It would
I don't
just
think
be
we've-
them standing in
it'd
the
be the
ring with a
worst fight ever.
microphone, just like talking
Yeah.
about each other.
yeah, I don't think we ever even like raised our voices at each other.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I was gonna say like one of the people that was running Defy would be a good person to box.
Or Jukin.
Jukin Media. Yeah, I'll box Jukin Media.
Yeah. Okay.
I shouldn't say that because maybe there's some like MMA bro that runs that
Yeah.
website. I don't know.
I don't know if I ever said this publicly, and I don't think he would mind. But when that all was happening, as it was getting planned out, the first fight actually, RiceGum hit me up, and he wanted to box me.
I think you did mention this.
I might have mentioned it. I don't know where though. Where would I have mentioned it? Other than the
on
podcast.
the podcast.
When?
I think. Oh, maybe it was one.
I don't
that
think
didn't
I.
get released.
Yeah, it was like one of those like really our test versions.
Okay.
I don't think like boxing or I mean, you would still annihilate him, but
Well, maybe
No,
he's,
maybe
who
not
knows? He
boxing.
might be a great boxer for all
he
we
has
know.
good reach. He's
That's
tall.
true.
And I don't know how to box.
You're right.
If
Yeah.
it was an MMA fight, I think I'd be pretty confident, but not in boxing. I'm not a
right.
boxer.
But I mean, it's the
And he's
same.
tall.
It's the same advantage that Logan had. You're a natural born athlete.
Well,
You know.
I wouldn't say natural.
Okay. But I mean, you're.
And I'm very much out of shape compared to like when I used to do a lot of sports.
He says that, and he's like,
I know. As he's saying, he was flexing a little
I'm
bit.
very much out of shape, as you guys can see.
Yeah.
but I mean, like, obviously, you're a highly competitive person. Weren't you like state ranked or something with wrestling?
For wrestling, yeah.
He won first place in states.
Come on, man.
It's a small state. It's Hawaii.
Yeah,
It's a small
but-
state.
yeah.
It's not like it was
All right. How strong was he when he beat you up, though? And he was smiling the whole time, right?
No,
Yeah.
but he wasn't really trying. That's the thing.
But it's still
That's
scary.
what you think.
He was running around in a slippery
I
little
was
suit.
I was fighting for my life. Well, that would be an interesting fight.
I have
I
no
wouldn't
interest
say
in
I
that.
wouldn't say you should do it though.
No, I mean the thing is, the only reason I would do it if it were MMA because I'm a fan of the sport.
Yeah.
And I already have some experience in it, so I wouldn't have to put in Granted, his experience, that's not fair if he has none. But if he does have some experience in boxing
Yeah.
and having experience in wrestling and judo, then it kind of balances a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean,
It just wouldn't be fair.
no. It wouldn't be fun to watch if it was MMA because you would just take him down and put him in some kind of hold.
Unless he's really good and nobody knew. He's better. Ooh. He's really good at surprisingly athletic at basketball. We played with him.
Oh, really?
He's good. He's actually really good at basketball. And honestly, when I first looked at him, I didn't think he was going to be athletic, but he's pretty good.
Okay, well, maybe I take everything I said back.
He probably not. Maybe he was he's a sleeper. He's one of those people who've been training, and he thinks I think he doesn't know how to fight, but he can fight.
He's waiting.
That's what I said. I didn't fall for the trap, Rice.
Nice try, Brian.
Yeah, nice try.
We don't even call you by your screen name.
Yeah.
Why were you balling with RiceGum? What's that all about?
So he lived out here. So this is right when he was kind of getting big.
Oh.
He kind of reached out, and it was I always say, I even mentioned it in that song, Exposed song, that when we hung out with him, he was like, I know he has a bad rap and stuff like that, and he does the whole torching kids. But when I met him, he's like a very nice, shy kind of, I guess, a kid at the time.
He's
and
probably
then we had some.
He's probably always been a nice person. It's just you
just
just have a persona online.
Exactly. Yeah. But we filmed with him in I Dare You a long time ago. He was starting to get big, and I could kind of see okay, he's feeling it. I mean, everybody goes through it a little bit, right? When you start getting that fame, you kind of feel like, oh, I'm getting more money than I ever thought I would. I'm getting more girls, or whatever it is. But at the same time, he was like, we had this really deep talk after we played basketball together. I was driving him home, and he was just stressing, I don't know, maybe I should move to LA, or what do you think I should do? He's very he was very kind of I'm sure he doesn't actually. I don't know if he'll mind if I'm talking about it, but it was just very normal. He was like a normal guy going through a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And I think part of that, whether it's a persona or whether it's him, it's kind of like a defense mechanism, I think.
Right.
I think it's because he feels that's where he feels comfortable. That's what got him made. And he kind of just ran with it. And, just like a prank channel or anything, you have to top yourself. You have to go above and beyond consistently, or else people lose interest.
Yep.
So that's what I think happened.
I mean, when you build your whole persona around always raising the bar and pushing the envelope, then you, like you said, you have to keep pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
If that's what your game is, eventually you're going to reach a breaking point.
Yeah.
Whether it's your content or your mental well-being.
Exactly. See, but that's why I think I get why he gets the hate he gets. It's the content that he puts out, right? So, but I don't think a lot of people know who he really is. And I think it's also just, I mean, it's not their fault for not knowing that, but I think a lot of YouTubers are like that, actually. They know that it works. I'm sure there's some that are very genuine, that are very, not saying that he's not, but I'm sure there are some that are very much just douchebag assholes.
And they put on a family friendly front.
Yeah, there's that too. There's that too.
All right, you sound like you want to say something. You
can't name
I'm just
names.
I'm just saying that is strangely a thing.
Yeah.
Where if they're putting on a nice sort of thing online, then I don't know.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to say names, but I'm sure people over the years and stuff like that.
I mean, most of the people I've met have all been wonderful. Yeah.
For me too.
Even if I've never met, I don't think I've ever met RiceGum. Even if I met him in real life, I don't think we'd have a bad experience. I'm sure we'd get along just fine.
We'd probably be super polite. Even when I met Logan Paul for the first time, he wasn't. This was before all the controversy and stuff like that. Yeah. Just one of the nicest people.
Yeah.
I mean, I only met him once, but you can't get much from one meeting. But he just came up to me at a party, said, "Oh, I'm such a big fan of your videos from back in the day." I was like, "Oh, I like your Vines." I didn't know he was on YouTube at the time. But yeah, it was around that era, and it was just a normal conversation. And then when all this stuff started happening, I was like, "Oh, he messed up." Well, he's gonna get some PR for that. Made him bigger.
Yep.
And then just another ooh.
Yeah.
It just kept happening. But the thing is, it just made him bigger and bigger. So how can you really? It's positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
In his head, obviously, it's well, yes, all this drama thing's making people say some bad things about me, but I'm also blowing up. So how can he?
Yeah. I mean, it's all speculation.
Yeah.
But I think, when you're creating content like that without any kind of purpose,
Yeah.
When you're just doing it because you need to push the envelope, you'll get a lot of views, but you're not, I don't think you're really building a core sort of audience. And that's something that I feel like, you guys have done. I feel like that's something that Smosh has done. Like, our audience has always been like not very engaged, but I feel like, we've always had a sort of core, and you see those sort of channels that have just followed a certain trend, or they get locked into one sort of like format, and they just ride that thing all the way up. And then once the algorithm shifts and that trend is no longer good for the algorithm, the bottom falls out from under those people.
Except that the algorithm hasn't changed in a very long time.
It has. There are things in the algorithm that have changed.
I mean, they're still doing well. Oh, yeah, that's true. Actually, they're not what it was even last year, but they're still huge.
Yeah, I mean, there was recent stuff that picked them up a little bit again, but that they kind of, because they don't really stand for anything.
They nullify
they
it
have
a
to.
little bit, yeah.
They have to keep pushing the envelope, and I mean, I'll still say it. Like, Logan Paul is extremely talented.
Yeah,
like, I do think he's really a really talented guy. So I'm just really disappointed because after the Forest thing, I was like, this is his chance to completely reinvent himself.
Yeah.
And go down a new path, and it'll be really good. And he didn't do it. And I mean, he still obviously succeeded.
Yeah.
Very well.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
He could have took that other turn and kind of like reinvented himself.
Yeah.
Like, because it was such a big event. That's like your perfect opportunity to, I mean, look at any celebrity that goes through that stuff, There, people want that change. And then you can always change it up again later. But like the whole, it's very similar to that, like, at least how I see it, is like the whole Miley Cyrus situation. Is like, she was this very clean whatever girl, and then people are like, what the hell? She turned into this Miley, drug Miley, twerking Miley, and she's so out of character. People were just like super interested, but at the same time like hating on her. Like, this is not how you should be. She wanted a new audience there, but now that she's kind of reverted back to old Miley, it's like, oh, now I want to root for this girl because she's like, she's seeing her wrongs and like she's trying to be a better person, and she's dating that famous dude Hemsworth again. So it's like a very, I don't know, I think it's strategic.
Yeah, it's a really good career move.
I mean, I guess
before her, Christina Aguilera did it. I mean, we all remember the dirty era of Christina Aguilera. Come on, you guys remember it?
I mean, I'm trying to think if the people watching remember.
Probably not. I don't know.
Yeah.
God, we're old now.
Yep.
But that was the thing. Like, Christina Aguilera started out with like Genie in a Bottle.
Yep.
Like, she was like this kind of like a little bit risque, but like still sort of wholesome, I think. I don't know. I wasn't like a big fan. But then she came out with Dirty, and she went like full blown like oh, I'm like this sexy like and like,
Every
as
celebrity
a freshman in high school when that came out, I was very stoked.
I mean, it just Britney Spears, same thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then they kind of had that sort of, with Christina, I feel, had that sort of like she matured, and then she was like back to, because she's an amazing singer, so she was able to just kind of like mature into this sort of like, I am now a woman,
right?
I'm a mature woman, and people loved it.
But it's the same trend. Look at Justin Bieber, same thing. This innocent little kid, right? Plays a little cute kid that's like, you want to support him. All the little girls love him. Goes through like this man phase. Like, I'm the man. I'm gonna take off my shirt and then start, get tattoos and stuff like that and look buff. Look buff. He got buffer.
Yeah.
And then now he's back into like, well, I'm going back to church, and well, not that he didn't go to church, but he's putting on that. But I don't know. I think it's the same trend I've seen with celebrities, at least. It happens all the time, and that was Logan's chance to go through that phase, I think, and then he could always come back, which I think would happen. But
and I think it's just like it's because people see that as being human, that it's relatable. Like, if someone is perfect and always perfect, it's like, wow, I love this person, but I can't relate to them. I would like to be this person. But when you see someone fail and then they succeed, that's a story that you can align yourself with and be like, if they can do it, if they can go through something way tougher than I went through, then that gives me hope.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I thought Logan was gonna sort of like go down the route of like raising awareness for suicide like a little bit longer.
Did for a little
like,
bit.
He did one video.
One
right?
video.
He did
Yeah,
one
just
video,
one.
Yeah.
and then it was back to, as far as I
think he
remember, it was
shot,
back
like,
to the
rats
crazy.
or
Yeah,
something.
he tased a dead rat or
something like that.
And I was like, wow, really? Like
Yeah.
this soon, man?
Maybe
I mean,
it could also
whatever.
be the people that he's around too. Who knows? I mean,
Yeah. You gotta find good people to surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with yes men, people that'll
Yeah.
just tell you.
they could
whatever
also
you do.
convince you that it's that's not that bad.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I
But-
mean, who? I mean,
we're gonna be called apologists now. Logan Paul apologists.
Logan
Apologists.
apologists. I
Apologers.
like that.
He does have a podcast as well.
Yeah.
Impulsive.
Impulsive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, is that something that either of you would ever consider going on?
Go on Logan Paul's podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know it well enough, but I saw clips on his Instagram of like doing some kind of crazy stuff where like some guy gets kicked in the balls, or they do some crazy stuff. It's like I don't know if I would want to do that,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but if it were just to talk to him, I'd have no issues talking to anyone. To me, at least.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I know people might associate your brand, so it's like a little, but
Yeah.
to me, I'm okay with talking to anyone.
Yeah, it seems like he's. I don't know. I've only seen clips again.
Yeah.
It seems like he's kind of trying to do like a Howard Stern thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not. Like I thought again. I thought with the podcast he was going to reinvent himself and go like a little bit more mature.
Depth.
And then it was like the third guest on was a porn star. I'm like, all right, dude.
Yeah.
But I reading the comments and stuff, it seems like people are really, really liking it. Like apparently it's good.
I mean, it's entertainment.
Yeah.
This is just us hanging out and talking. We're not kicking people in the balls. We don't got like random strippers or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm not opposed to having a stripper to talk to, or a porn star. Sorry, I would talk to a porn star. I wouldn't make her do anything crazy.
Asa
but-
Akira is actually so funny.
the what?
Asa Akira, who's a porn star. She also did like going
I've
deep
s-
with
yeah,
Cassim G,
yeah,
I think.
I
as
just
well.
want to be clear. I've never heard that name. I don't know. I don't have any idea who you're talking about.
Right.
Shut up, Christina Aguilera. I was stoked.
She went on Cassim's. Okay, then I
Yeah,
had
going deep.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh God, I loved that show.
I know.
That show was so funny. You can't do something like that on YouTube anymore.
No,
though.
No,
you
definitely
can't.
not.
Cassim is he's so good though.
He's
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah. And as the last question, as the grandfathers kind of YouTube in a way, you guys have been here for so long.
We're dying.
A dying
So
breed, literally
old.
a
We're
dying
dying.
breed though of sketch comedy.
Yep.
What is some of the strangest fan interactions that you've had?
Why does this one always come up with every person?
Well, it's because I'm asking that one.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'll let Ian go because we already answered this.
Yeah.
I mean, the weird one that we always say was a time when, back when Anthony and I lived at the same house, the address got leaked, and people started showing up at our house like on a almost daily basis. And somebody decided like in the middle of the night that they were gonna go into the side of the house, like
What?
through a fence, and they took a picture of Anthony through the window.
Yeah, that is so weird.
Yeah, not cool.
I actually have a similar one to that. Actually, I didn't tell it. I don't know why I didn't tell this story, but same thing. People found out where I lived, my other place, and I had cameras though, and I just so happened to have my TV on that has a different cameras, and I just see these kids like just by my, not doing anything in my front like kind of garage area, on my driveway, so they're not really like trespassing. But then I just keep watching them, and then you just see them talking, and you see this one kid go over, and he runs up the stairs, looks in the window, and then he starts filming inside, and then, yeah, and then basically it's just like, that's one of the main reasons why I moved here, because I was just like, that was happening a lot at the other house. Once they find out where you live, it's very uncomfortable. I always kept my windows closed, and, it makes you feel weird, man.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't suggest everybody go and do this, but I mean, I bought a gun.
Yeah.
Like you're
gonna get so much hate.
I know. Well, look. I definitely don't recommend everybody go out and
In
buy
California?
a gun. Yeah.
You can. I guess you have to just get a whatchamacall, right? Like you need some kind of license or something in California.
With a shotgun, no.
Oh, really?
No way.
Literally, I paid $300 and I had it in like 2 weeks or something like that. I think
Yeah.
they do like a background check or something, but
They do.
You don't need a permit for a shotgun. For a
Right.
handgun, you have to take like a written test,
A concealed
and then-
weapon, yeah.
and then no, not a concealed.
For a handgun.
Yeah, just for at least back when I was thinking about it.
Oh.
You had to take a test, like a written test, and then you had a permit that expired like a couple years later.
Right.
Welcome to Gun Talk. But yeah, and it's obviously I didn't have the intention of going out there and shooting fans, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
not
for its
even-
intended purpose. If
Yeah.
someone comes and breaks into your house, like you have some way to protect yourself. If they have a gun too, you know.
yeah, and that was the reason for the shotgun over something like a handgun was the sound alone should be enough to scare most people away, unless you're like a crazy murderer, which is very rare.
Yep.
If you're just somebody looking to break in and steal some equipment, like you're not going to take that risk. So if you just hear then you're not going to stick around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't plan on shooting anybody. I certainly don't want to shoot anybody. I don't fantasize about shooting anybody. I think, gun violence is obviously a huge problem.
Mm-hmm.
But
you're a special case. I mean, like, not to make you feel like, but I mean, it's true. Like there's a very legitimate reason as to why you have that gun.
Yeah. And it's not for fans that are trying to take pictures through my window. It's the fact that, our address is out there and only takes one person to say, well, they're YouTubers. I bet they have some pretty expensive video and audio equipment.
Or one crazy person. That's all it takes.
Yeah, I mean, I've never banked on the crazy person aspect of it, but it did
I'm worried
happen.
about that.
It did happen to Gavin and Meg Turney.
I know, yeah.
And that was scary as hell because
Yeah.
that's sort of the thing that every sort of YouTuber feared, and thank God they're okay.
Yep.
Like that.
One crazy. That's what I
frightening.
mean, though. There's so many people in the world,
Yeah.
and because people know you, there's a higher probability of someone crazy coming and doing something like that.
And I mean, obviously the girls online have to worry about that a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there was some YouTuber that was telling another person, so this is gonna be a third person story. But they said that they had this guy reach out to her. It was a fan, and he's like, "Hey, I'm just making sure you haven't been talking directly to me, have you?" And she responded like, "No." And he's like, "Okay, thank you, because I have this mental condition where when I'm watching something, I think they're talking directly to me."
What?
Yeah. So he had the wherewithal to realize that because of this, mental illness, that he could not be possibly thinking straight.
Yeah.
But it's that possible.
That's a fortunate
Mental-
scenario,
And
though,
there's
because that could have easily went the
there's
other
very
way.
few people who are self-aware of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's those kinds of people, not that I'm trying to like say a certain type of like mental illness is responsible
Right,
for this or
right.
anything, but the people that aren't right in the head, that, the guy that broke in there was obsessed with Meg.
Right.
Like had thousands of notes on his phone about like his love for her and like how he was going to kill Gavin or whatever. It was nuts.
Yeah.
And obviously it's not like something that YouTubers should be worried about every moment of the day, but just, being aware of something like that.
Yeah. See, the thing is, the way that I justify that I know already people are going to be like, "Oh, I can't believe Ian has a gun." And there's going to be people regardless.
Sure.
Because we shot a video where we literally just went to the desert and shot guns.
Yeah.
That's the thing you do out here. I didn't think much of it. And we got so much ridiculous hate for that.
I'm sure.
But the thing is, about that whole situation and your situation and why I think it's fine is because if everybody didn't have guns, if there was no guns, yeah, of course, well, you don't need a gun, even though it's our right, but the fact that you don't, that's not put into place, like I understand your concern for that.
Yeah. I mean, I have no black or white thoughts. I think that's the issue with any sort of gun control debate is it's so black and white of
Right.
like, you're either for guns or against guns. And I'm like, I mean, there's certain cases where like maybe it's all right, but like then there's also a lot of people that definitely should not have guns. And maybe there are just too many guns.
Yeah. Well, the original reason was for tyranny, right? Like that's the reason why that Second Amendment.
Sure. Yeah.
But,
back when we all had single fire muskets.
And it took like 2 minutes.
Not
to
that we
load
need
it.
to. Not that we need to get into any gun control talk because that's really not an interest of mine.
Yeah, the comments are already full. I already know.
Yeah, I know.
Feel them.
But yeah, that's cool of you to admit.
It's in his name.
And that's also kind of the funny. I always think about this with like, there is like a lot of people that, from an outsider perspective, like everyone thinks California is like this, super liberal, Democrat gun control hellhole. It's like, well, I know a lot of people you could basically classify as rednecks. Like, like California is a very diverse sort of state. And I mean, we're a lot of us are descendants of pioneers, people that traveled across the freaking country in a wagon and risked, life and limb to come out here. And, there's still a lot of that sort of like, rugged sort of lifestyle that exists. I mean, there's like a more like way northern California. They tried to secede.
Yeah,
Like
I know.
they tried to form their own state.
North California.
It's
right?
called
No, there was 3. There was gonna be 3, right?
Well, no, this was earlier. It was called the state of Jefferson.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's like I think it was a little bit of Oregon, and then like northern California. And yeah, they didn't like how things were, and they wanted their own state.
Right. Whatever happened to the separating California to 3 parts?
I think the courts knocked it down.
No.
So it showed up in our voting.
Yeah.
But it said like the Supreme Court of California or something has like voted this out.
Yeah.
So it wasn't on the ballot. It was such a stupid idea anyway. Like,
I mean, I didn't know enough about it to comment, but I just remember I was like, oh, more states to remember. You know?
Right.
Sucks for kids.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
There's like 52 states you have to learn about now, and Guam and all this stuff.
Yeah, right. I mean,
Animaniacs would have to change their song.
Yeah. It is kind of weird though that California is one state, but there's 40 million people that live in this one state.
Such a big sock.
And it's like 2/3 of the East Coast or something, like the size of it.
The West Coast?
No, it's the same.
Oh,
as 2/3 of like the East Coast or something like that.
I don't know.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Alaska's 3 times the size of Texas.
I do know that.
Yeah.
Paco's coming with those
Africa's
geography facts.
Something times the size of, I don't know. I'm just looking at memes. We're just naming memes at this point.
I just love whenever there's like an asteroid, they're always like, it's twice the size of Texas or like 3 times the size of Great Britain.
I mean, it's a unit of measurement for us,
I guess so.
We wouldn't understand in cubic meter.
Or if somebody was,
know.
I mean, yeah, if someone was like, it's 5,000 inches, we'd be like, how's that? And then you convert it to feet. It's not as impressive.
Well, that'd be
as-
easier for us in like meters because we're not on the metric system.
That's
so.
true.
Oh, wait, this topic got like very serious and dark towards the end, huh?
Yeah.
That's how I like to take things.
Yeah, that's good though.
Rope you in with the light, fluffy things, and then I just tear your heart out.
Yeah, and then we talk about gun control, and now that's what everyone's gonna be talking about.
Yeah.
Unless
People
we bring
should
up
be
something
talking
else.
about it.
Unless we bring up something, I don't know. But the thing is, we always end up bringing some political thing in here. But what my original intention is to talk about things I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Obviously, what the guest, if there's a guest, what they're interested in too. And I guess I am interested in politics. It always comes up at least once a podcast.
Yeah.
I mean,
But,
you're talking about life, and life is politics.
But the thing is, I'm not the most educated person on this stuff. But I have my own opinions.
What politics you off?
Oh, nice.
That's good. That could
Bang.
be. There's your next segment.
Ian Hecox a shotgun. Bang! I had puns
We
on
need,
it.
we need to stop this. How long were you waiting to do
Dude,
that?
I was like a
You were
dog
waiting.
just waiting for a bone. I was sitting on my hand.
I
was
saw
like,
you thinking for a little bit, actually. I was just like, oh, Paco's being really quiet today.
Yeah,
He must have some kind of joke he's waiting to say. Anyway, we went a little bit over what we
did.
normally do, but you know what? It was actually a lot of fun and very entertaining. So again, thank you, Ian, for being on the.
so much.
Before we end, Ian, what do you have to shout
Well, I was
out?
about to do that.
Oh.
But anyway, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Paco.
That's okay. He cuts me off, so I'll cut him off.
Yeah, you can cut me off. Go ahead.
Well, you know, we're getting a new lease of life at Smosh, and our podcast, the Smoshcast, is a good old time. We just launched that. It's available on all the places where you can get a podcast.
Yep. And at some point, I am going to visit you for that as well.
I would love for you to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna visit too, but I'm not
No.
gonna be on the podcast.
It's so hard. It's so hard to get Ryan out
Yeah.
to LA, and then I have to go through his mom, and she's so nice.
Well, I mean, to schedule this, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't go out a lot. There's like a whole tour of podcasts that I said I was gonna do eventually at some point,
Yeah.
and I'm just gonna try and knock them all out at once.
Well, if you come to do the podcast with us, you could probably do Rhett and Link's.
Yeah, yeah. And then I was supposed to do.
H3.
Actually, Rhett and Link did reach out a while back, but I don't know what happened with that. H3, I'm supposed to do their podcast as well.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but Will told me to be worried about that one because they're I guess if you mess up saying something, I don't know. Have you done theirs?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why is it worrisome?
I don't think there's anything to be worried about. I mean,
Oh.
the audience is pretty critical,
Yeah.
but podcast is fun. Ethan's a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know, but we'll figure that out.
Okay.
Anyway, yes, make sure you guys check out the new Smosh, new and improved and more free. And also I guess that's on you're putting the podcast on there.
Podcast is on a separate channel. The Smoshcast or
Smoshcast is on a separate channel.
Yeah.
Okay. And the Smoshcast, which at some point I will be on as well.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That being said, we didn't tell them how we end this, but you know what? We're just gonna
No, but he's watched it. He's watched it.
we
I
can
haven't watched the end.
Oh.
see the ending is basically how we ended.
We just get naked. You first.
Hell yeah.
You first.
You don't want to see what I got. Trust me.
All we do is we breathe into the mic.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's not good for the mics. I don't know why we do it. It's probably gonna break at some point, but it's just been our thing.
I've been ending my podcast going.
That's pretty close,
'Cause
to be honest.
It's just an annoying noise.
And it's
Yeah,
a
I
lot.
know.
No, that's ASMR right there.
That is true, actually.
That's asthma.
ASMR?
Yeah, asthma.
Are you an ASM artist?
No.
Ooh, he just came back at you with the puns.
I'm an ASMRter. I'll die for
Same
it.
pun.
No, there's a little.
You know what? Let's end this before people are already going to click away like 2 puns ago. So thank you guys for watching Off the Pale podcast. Thank you again to Ian. I guess we'll talk to you next podcast then.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, Twitter and Instagram. I always forget. Follow us on that
Twitter, Off the Pill on Twitter, and Off the
Yep.
Pill podcast on Instagram.
so that we can get your questions in. With that being said, we'll see you guys next time.
oh, did what?
I wonder how that mic smell. Like this probably has a consistent, like
Sugar-free Red Bull smell.
like kind of that kind of smell. Yours probably has a kind of interesting smell, but this one's probably like a mix of so many different smells.
Jelly Belly popcorn.
That was great.